From JBS Studios in Greater New York, this is the JBS News Update with Teisha Bader.
I'm Teisha Bader with the JBS News Update for Tuesday, October the 20th, 2020. We open with more history being made today, the first official visit from the United Arab Emirates to Israel. Some 5 weeks after the signing of the Abraham Accords between Israel and the Emirates in Washington, the Emirates official carrier Etihad Airways landed at Ben Gurion Airport, the official Emirati airline tweeting video with audio of Israel's air traffic controller welcoming the flight.
Etihad 9607, Ben Gurion Tower, Shalom. On behalf of Ben Gurion Airport and Air Traffic Control, we are delighted to welcome you on this first commercial flight to Israel. It is the dawn of a new era of peace and prosperity for our countries and hopefully for the entire region. Marhaba, welcome to Israel.
The plane carried a senior Emirati delegation led by its Minister of Financial Affairs, Obaid Humaid Al-Tayer, and of the Economy, Abdullah Ben Tuk Al-Mari. On board as well, accompanying the Emirati team, an American team led by Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin. Because of the coronavirus pandemic, the entire ceremony and meetings today, a trilateral summit between the UAE, Israel, and the U.S., took place on the tarmac at Ben Gurion, with the Emiratis not entering the country because of COVID restrictions. Netanyahu welcomed the flight and addressed the auspicious occasion.
My staff wrote me some lines. They started by saying, "Today, we are literally witnessing history in the making." And I said, absolutely not. Today, we are making history. We are making history in a way that will stand for generations. This is the first ever official visit from the United Arab Emirates to Israel. This is the first time since the signing of the historic agreement in the White House that the government of Israel and the UAE will be signing concrete, practical agreements of cooperation. We are signing 4 agreements that will make a tangible difference for our peoples.
Those agreements are in the areas of science and technology, economy, civil aviation, and a visa waiver agreement, the first of its kind between Israel and an Arab state. Netanyahu said he believes that more and more Middle East governments will recognize, he said, that we are so much better off working together as friends.
Ultimately, Jews and Arabs are the descendants of one common ancestor, Abraham, Ibrahim. And it is in his name that we have designated this historic peace initiative. In his spirit, we wish to foster a Middle East of coexistence and cooperation, of mutual understanding and mutual respect.
The Prime Minister also said he hopes this visit is the first of many by the Emiratis and that next time, post-corona, he'll be able to welcome them into Israel and show them the beautiful country. The delegations also announced the creation of the Abraham Fund, a $3 billion joint regional development fund based in Jerusalem aimed at promoting economic cooperation and prosperity in the Middle East. The Emirati team made the quick flight back to Abu Dhabi at the conclusion of the summit this evening. And an update on the vaccine that Israel is working on to fight the coronavirus. Israeli Defense Minister Benny Gantz visited Israel's Institute for Biological Research last night, which is under the auspices of the Defense Ministry, and said that it would begin human trials at the end of this month. Gantz also announced the name of the vaccine, Brilife, from the Hebrew word for health, briut, and life. The 38th World Zionist Congress began today. While it was meant to take place in Jerusalem, because of the pandemic, it is being held virtually. If you recall, back in February here on JBS, we held live debates with most of the slates running for the Congress to represent at the gathering. And this year, AZM said the U.S. delegation was the largest and most diverse they have ever had. AZM's President Richard Heidemann said the broad and diverse delegates and alternates from 28 states, plus the District of Columbia and Puerto Rico, which together constitute the U.S. delegation to the Congress, range in age from 18 to 89, a quarter of whom are youth, he said, which bodes well for our ongoing and future efforts to move Zionism forward in America. During the online gathering over the next few days, the delegates will weigh in on the policies of and influence Israel's national institutions like the World Zionist Organization and the Jewish Agency, which allocate nearly $1 billion annually in funding in support of Israel and Jewish communities around the world. Taking a look now at our programming for tonight on JBS for Tuesday, October the 20th at 7 o'clock, a discussion on Black-Jewish relations from the AJC Global Forum of 2017. At 8, Jewish women of color talk about the challenges they face with Rabbi Sandra Lawson, who is the first gay Black female rabbi, Tima Smith, who's Director of Professional Development at 18 Doors, and Michelle Norris and Sabrina Kerbel of Hadassah. At 9 o'clock, Mark Golub sits down with the first Ethiopian-born Israeli to win Miss Israel, Titi Ainawat. At 10, Yeshiva University's Jeffrey Gurok talks about the Jews of Harlem. And next, Mark Golub speaks with New York Rabbi Eli Abadi, who talks about his new appointment as the senior rabbi of the Jewish Council of the Emirates in Dubai. And that's the JBS News Update for Tuesday, October the 20th, 2020. I'm Teisha Bader. Stay healthy. Stay well.